Welcome back to the Sarah Jane-Mee Show. Now, my next guest has sold over 2 million books worldwide. He is Eoin Colfer. You'll know him, of course, from the Artemis Fowl series, the young people's fiction book, fantasy book, 8 books. It was huge. He's here with me now. Eoin, it's lovely to see you.
It's lovely. I think everybody can see me.
Yeah. Welcome to the Goldfish Bowl.
Yeah, it's
that is Sky News.
No, it's lovely to be here. Thanks for having me.
Artemis Fowl was such a huge success. It was, as I said, you know, over 2 million books sold worldwide. It was a huge part of your life. What was it? Over 15 years.
It was. I went from kind of early middle age with one baby to actual middle age with a grown-up child and a teenager. So it was a huge part of my life. Yeah.
And I understand that there is the first film from Disney coming out later this summer, which, how do you feel about that? Because it must be so interesting as an author to have written 8 books.
Yeah.
It's very personal to everybody that reads it. They have their own vision in their head of Artemis Fowl and his world. What's it like to see it translate to the big screen?
It's strange, but Kenneth Branagh, of course, is a bit of a genius. So I was quite happy. And then they said, well, Judi Dench is in it, and she's going to do an Irish accent. And I thought, well, I know she's ex. So they played me this little clip of Judi Dench made up as a fairy saying a very innocuous Irish phrase, which was top of the morning. And it was the most aggressive use of that phrase. I thought, she's fantastic. So she could play anybody, I think. She's just a genius actress.
Oh, so it's got your stamp of approval. Were you involved in the process?
Not really. I did a couple of cameos. They may use one, they may not. My advice would be cut those, guys.
Is it a blink and you miss it? Do you...
I hope so. I hope so, because they just... pretty much like I am here, they said, just don't look at the camera. And
all you do is look at the camera.
It was like 20 cameras. Everywhere you looked, there was a guy with the cameras, so I was terrible.
Oh, did you share any screen time with Dame Judi Dench?
No, I haven't actually met Dame Judi yet. She was never there when I was there, but hopefully we will bump into each other at some point.
Well, that's exciting, and that's happening this summer. It's released by Disney. But you're here today to talk about your new novel, High Fire, which is an older age range to Artemis Fowl. It's young adults?
No, this is adult. I would like to stress, please, no kids. I would say 18 and up.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
OK.
I would, because it's quite... I mean, there's a lot of explosions, there's some swearing. It's all the stuff...
Hard-drinking, swearing dragon in it.
I'd been holding all this in for like 20 years while I was writing about leprechauns. So now it's like one big, long, expletive book with
We always say that, actually, the news industry. We'd love to make a show about what goes on in the breaks in terms
I've seen that. It's terrible.
But that must have been how it was for you, writing for children in fantasy and, you know, to have outtakes and rude things happening or unusual things happening.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I kept all of that and it went in there. And this actually started as a kid's book. But somewhere along the line of the first few chapters, the dragon started drinking vodka, and I was like, where does that come from? Obviously, my subconscious knows something I don't know. And then I had to go back and make it an adult book. Yeah, so it's definitely not for kids. But if you grew up reading Artemis in the 90s or 2000s, I should say.
You may well be old enough to read this.
You should be old enough now.
It's interesting, isn't it, the fantasy genre? Because Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, when that was translated to the big screen, it really became, I mean, it really became mainstream.
That's exactly right.
And then Game of Thrones as well made it OK for adults to like dragons and fairies and fantasy.
So this is the evolution of that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring dragons into noir fiction where they haven't really been before. And dragons usually are quite noble. Or else they're these vast creatures that just soar over your town and just obliterate it.
Or is the one from the John Lewis advert?
The one from I haven't seen that one. Is he a nice guy?
He's quite cute and he sneezes and sets fire to everything. And the villagers hate him, but he's really cuddly and nice.
Yeah, that sounds like one of my sons. I'm not going to say. But this guy is kind of, he's more like a grumpy granddad who lives in the swamp who just happens to be a dragon. So he's a bit more human than the vast animals we're used to seeing on TV. Yeah,
it's out today. I mean, some of the reviews, a joyous fantasy for grown-ups, True Detective meets Swamp Thing, that was from The Guardian. The Telegraph, Southern Gothic romp is like Artemis Fowl for grown-ups. If you're waiting for the next Game of Thrones novel, this fills the gap.
Wow.
It's set in Louisiana, is that right?
I've always wanted that in one of my reviews, fills the gap. But no, I know, yeah. It's set in Louisiana in the swamps. up on the Pearl River, where they have a legend, pretty much like Nessie here, where there's supposed to be this Bigfoot kind of guy there, and people go on tours looking for him. So I thought, if you were a dragon and you wanted to be not seen, where better than here? Because if you are seen, no one's going to believe it anyway. So he's hiding out with the alligators, and he's watching cable TV and drinking vodka, enjoying his final days.
I mean, why not? What else would a dragon be doing?
What else can you do?
While people are out hunting.
Well, you can't get a good Guinness in Louisiana.
Oh, really?
So vodka is the next best.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So that's out now. And obviously, I have to talk about Artemis Fowl because I got so many people getting in touch.
Yeah.
Will you ever return to that, or is that done and dusted now? 8 books.
I think that's probably... Artemis is done and dusted, I think. But I am doing a series with his little brothers, the twins. So I'll probably do... I've done 1, I'll probably do 3. They're a little funnier, I think. They're like gothic comedies. So yeah, that's going really well. But Artemis, just to make sure, because I'm very weak, and I thought if enough people pressure me, I'll bring it back. So what I did in the first twins book was I sent them on a 5-year mission to Mars.
Okay, so you've got 5 years.
I've got 5 years.
Eoin Colfer, so good to meet you, and good luck with the book Hi-Fi, which is out today.
Thanks, Sarah Jane.
Thank you.